trying to rank episodes with Donna is like trying to choose a favorite child. Let's be honest, though, we all have a favorite child. See, it's okay for me to say that because I've only got one kid. Ha ha! So, hey folks, I've wrapped up Series 4 as part of the Overdue Doctor Who review, and that means I gotta rank these. So, the way I do rankings, as a reminder, is I count two-parters as one story, which means that even though there's 13 episodes, it's only 10 stories. So this does actually get to be a top 10. Works out nicely. I'm going to start at the bottom, going to work my way up, and coming in at number 10 for Series 4, The Doctor's Daughter. Yeah, I've gone into why this doesn't work, and it's a litany of reasons, but here's the short version if you haven't seen the full review that I did on it. It is vastly too condensed for how much stuff it's got going on and is doing. It really needed to be a two-parter because it is trying to tell the story of this condensed war, this one that happened in a really tight time frame. It's trying to involve Martha and give her her own entire subplot. It's trying to introduce this character of Jenny, the Doctor's daughter, and deal with all the ramifications of what him having a live daughter has on him, and it's too much for one episode, and it just doesn't balance, and it is poorly handled. Moving on. Number 9, The Unicorn and the Wasp. Now, with Series 4, only the actual bottom one, The Doctor's Daughter, is one that I actively do not like. From here on out, including Unicorn and the Wasp, I actually do like these episodes. It's just a question of how much isn't quite lining up. So, while I do enjoy The Unicorn and the Wasp, and I like the mystery vibe to it, and I really love the performance of the character of Agatha Christie, I think that's phenomenal. I like the vibe, and I love how much fun Donna's having. It's terrific. But there are a couple of like wonky things with the storytelling. The episode is a little too self-aware in terms of how it approaches the mystery. I wish it had treated the mystery with a little bit more seriousness, and done like a proper mystery, where there were the hints and clues that we could have had. That like it kind of half does it, but not all the way. And I also don't like the giant wasp because larger versions of animals we already have on Earth is a really lazy alien design. I will not stop banging that drum. Number 8, Planet of the Ood. Another good one. I think the thing with this one is there isn't actually a ton that I love about this episode, aside from just the Doctor and Donna bantering. But the thing is, it's hard for that to elevate this too much because almost every episode of the series has that in spades. So the reason that this isn't lower, because I did go back and forth whether to put Unicorn and the Wasp above this, is that there isn't, the things that aren't great about this don't drag it down quite as much as the things that in Unicorn and the Wasp don't work for me. So like, there are some things here that don't work for me. The resolution with what happens to the head of the company being transformed into Ood, like, apparently I'm weird for not buying that. A lot of people called me out in the comments. I'm sorry, I don't. And the security head, that was a real campy performance in a way that wasn't fun and didn't work. But other than that, I like that the Ood get addressed overall because that was very much the fact that there is this slave race. That was kind of a dangling plot thread that had been hanging on for 2 series now. And that was worth addressing. And like Donna, Donna. Yeah, she always helps. Number 7, Partners in Crime. The reuniting of these two characters. It's fun. It's fluff in a lot of ways. This one's not trying to do anything particularly serious or particularly deep or even particularly clever. It's just having a bit of fun and getting these characters back together. And it works for that. I've said before, I'll say it again, and everyone will bag on me for saying it. I don't love the pantomime bit. But other than that, it's just great seeing these two characters get reunited. And while the whole adipose living fat thing is it just kind of is a thing, I don't love it or hate it. Like it neither hurt nor hinders. Number 6, this one's going to be controversial. Turn Left. So again, to emphasize, I do like this, but it is the standard butterfly effect story. one thing was changed, created a new timeline, that is worse, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, so that it makes sense that the characters have to take whatever extreme measures they have to put it back the way it was. It is the quintessential butterfly effect template. And not that I'm saying Doctor Who has to be super original with every idea it has. I mean, pretty much every idea under the sun has been done somewhere at some point previously. But I think what annoys me a bit about the butterfly effect as a storyline is it's not just the initial kernel that I've seen before. It's that kind of story has a very rigid template that this does in fact follow pretty well. Why isn't it lower if that doesn't do a lot for me? Well, again, because of Donna. She's great. She's phenomenal, and she sells that pain of believing you don't matter. She sells that incredibly well. Plus, as a bonus, we get Wilf in this, and Wilf is heartbreaking because when that immigrant family is being trucked away, and it goes in on Wilf's face because he knows exactly what is going on and exactly what this is a portent of, and it is crushing his soul, and it's all in his face. Oh. Yeah, the stuff that does work in here really, really works. Here we go, upper half, top 5, the Sontaran Stratagem in the Poison Sky. This is just fun. I actually really like the Sontarans as villains when they're used well. Time Warriors, my favorite Third Doctor story. I enjoy the Sontarans a lot. They're wonderfully used here. The performances for the Sontarans are all terrific. I like the way Unit's used, and I kind of like how Martha's integrated in with them. And Donna, Donna using her ordinariness as a superpower, her knowledge of temping and how offices work to note, hey, nobody's taking a sick day. Like, that's just great. And, Donna having to step up and take out a Sontaran back of the neck. And, of course, Wilf here as well. And, yeah, this one is just fun. This is a series that actually has quite a lot of depth in a lot of the episodes. Not all of them, but a lot of them where, whether it succeeds or not, even Doctor's Daughter doesn't succeed, but its ideas have a lot of depth to them. But this one is probably one of the more disposable in terms of thematically and what it's doing. It's not trying to do much more than just be fun. But that's okay, because I think it does it really, really well. And on this rewatch, I came to a greater appreciation of the character of Ratigan. I actually think he's pretty solid as a supporting secondary villain with redemption story. Plus, I really like Ross. I wish we hadn't lost him. Okay, number 4. And this one's funny because 4 and 3, I literally swapped as I'm recording this. So it shows you how close these last 4 are going to be. Number 4, Stolen Earth and Journey's End. So this one, well, okay, let me just jump to the main thing. That ending crushes me. It breaks my heart. That Donna begs him to not do what he does, and then for Wilf to see her, that breaks my heart again. Oh boy. And there's a wonderful triumph to all the characters together in the TARDIS, and Davros is great. And it's nice having the Daleks back and feeling properly threatening. The things that I like about this, I love. But one of the things that's a little off in this one is the Doctor himself. He's very reactive. He doesn't have a ton to do besides just kind of react to what's going on around him. And it actually makes him a bit of an inert character in the story, which I think I always kind of noticed, but didn't fully wrap my head around until this rewatch. If you want more details, you can check out my full review on the thing, but Tennant himself is a little off in this for a lot of it. That last 10 minutes or so, though. Oh yeah. So, number 3, this shocked me when I sat down to work on these. I'm like, really? This seems like a huge jump for where I would have put it before, but yeah. Fires of Pompeii. Maybe part of it is because since Capaldi took on the role later and there was that whole linking of why he chose that face, to tell himself something, to remind himself, maybe that's lent this additional poignancy. I'll grant that that's possible. Or maybe it just drew my attention much better to what the strengths of this episode are. And that is, it is a vehicle for Donna's empathy, a vehicle for communicating that to the audience, and for her to instill it to the Doctor. Because he was just going to fly away. He was going to set off an event that was going to kill thousands of people and just fly away. Until she begged him to save somebody. Anybody. Because it doesn't have to be a total loss. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. You can help a little. And if you can, you should. And she reminds him of that. And yeah, maybe part of it is that because the Doctor then later takes on that face to remind himself of what Donna had to remind him the first time. So part of it's my love of Donna. Part of it's the years away payoff. Maybe those things are part of what's elevating it, but this one really sunk in a lot more with me this time around than it ever did to my memory. Now we're up to the top two. And these two, this back and forth. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I'm pretty sure that I have ranked these in opposite order in previous lists. And I'm equally sure that in future times, if asked this question, I might flip them around again. It depends on the criteria. Because with these last two, there is one that I think is effectively flawless. And there's one that I know some of the issues with, but I just kind of like a little bit more. And it's a question of what am I going to elevate to the top spot? And like I said, depending on when you ask me, my answer might be completely different. But for today, number 2, Silence in the Library, and Forest of the Dead. That's so weird because I've put this as my number 1 Fourth Doctor story before. And you know what? I might reverse this order again when I do a top 10 10th Doctor stories, period. But I have my little niggles about this. Again, you want to know what they are, you can go to the episode. But I'm at my number 2 out of the thing. I don't want to talk about the niggles. I want to talk about what's good. Introduction of River Song. Love her as a character. I know she bugs some people, but I like her as a character. I continue to like her, even later on. But this introduction is great. It is efficient, tells you everything you need to know about her very strange situation, and it all flows and makes total sense. Donna in that other reality. Again, this is a series for the feels, breaking my heart when her children slip away from her. The Vashta Narada, great concept. The Doctor being shaken by so much of what's going on. The triumph of him just getting everybody out. And even though I won't like the way it gets evoked later, the similar things get evoked later, I love that I'm the Doctor, look me up moment. Oh, this is so good. But today, the day belongs to midnight at the number 1 spot. Because this thing, as for what it is setting out to do, it might well just be perfect. This creature, this entity, whatever it is the perfect villain for Tennant's Doctor specifically to come up against, because it renders his best skill, his best power, his ability to talk his way through a situation or out of a situation or stall for time with his voice or whatever. Not only does it render it useless, it actively turns it against him, where the more he's talking, the stronger it gets. this is a perfectly tailored villain for this Doctor specifically, and he loses and is only saved by the hostess character. And all these characters are great. It basically, it's almost like a mini play. It's this little bottle episode, but these characters are all so fully formed, so fully fleshed out, so perfectly played. You could watch this and every time zero in on a different performance from a different character and get more out of their performance that you hadn't realized before, just because you're really zeroing in on what they did. It is so good and so tight and so offbeat in terms of the tone and the vibe. It is legitimately unsettling. It is tense. It is my number one for Series 4. So that's my ranking. What's yours? Whatever it is, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's other stuff down there as well, too. There's a link to the Patreon. Helps me cover my bills and is greatly appreciated. Beyond that, there's links to my book and socials and blah-de-blah-de-blah. All this usual stuff down there. Go check it out. But you also don't have to. I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm not going to tell you what to do because at the end of the day, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.